this lesson, we are going to play around with something that's called scribble drawing. So this is one of our 4 cats. Her name is Jupiter. She is very beautiful and the most annoying cat that we have. Well, to me she is. She is Olivia's favorite. She's Olivia's cat, and all the kids love her, but I tolerate her. But she is beautiful, so in fact, because she's gray, and when I took this picture, she was laid up in our dog's toy basket. So we have a Doberman named Nula, and she had pulled all her toys out of her basket, so Jupiter decides to get inside of Nula's basket. And she gets into everything. In fact, right now, she's outside my studio door, curled up in the lid of one of my storage boxes. But I just thought this was such a cute shot of her. And so I made the picture, printed it out, but I thought that would be a lot. It would take a long time to get all that. So I've made it much smaller. And I'm going to first just sketch her out. Let's turn our paper this way. So I'll sketch her out with pencil, and you can take a picture of your pet or get one off the internet. It doesn't have to be a cat, doesn't have to be a pet at all. I've done this with dogs and birds. I don't know why I always do animals, but you could actually do portraits of people in scribble art. It's really a beautiful, cool way to do art. So right here, I'm just sketching this circle of her fur, and then I am doing the front leg. And I'm just doing this very quickly. I don't want to put a lot of time in it because it's going to be a long time with our scribbling. So this circle is here. In fact, it kind of comes out a little more right here where her fur is, and her chin is about right here. So let's pretend this is her mouth, and then we've got her little nose. It's kind of a heart shape. And then you got the nostrils on the side. And then a line that goes up on each side of her nose and curves over her eyes. Then the eyes, and they are kind of the shape of a lemon. The irises are round, the pupils have slits, and then right on up we've got the ears, and now I'm seeing that I got way off with the fur circle, but we can correct that, no big deal. Alright, so that's about the top of her head, and then, well, maybe there's the top of her head, and then the rest of this is the fur ball that she is. I don't know if you can see it. Let me come in just a little bit. I'm trying to do this light, but once we get started on the scribble part, you'll be able to see it much better. So I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and just erase that real quick. It's more like this. Let's get that ear out. And then right here, I'm going to do just a curve for her body. curling her around. And I am not going to do her hind feet because you can't see them in this picture. And you can't really see her tail too much, but it's huge. It looks like a squirrel tail. And then this right here is just the inside of our dog's toy basket. So, what we want to do is look at the shadows and the highlights. So it's darker here along the edge of her back, right up under her mane, so to speak. And then the feet up under her tail, her legs right up under the mane, the front mane of her. And then if you'll notice, she's got some lighter highlights on her face, her eyes, the tips of her ears. So when we scribble, we're going to pay attention to that. So I'm going to use a micron, and this one is a micron, a Pigma micron, and it's an 01. And I'm actually hoping that I have enough ink in it. And I will probably make quite a few adjustments as I go, because I'm already seeing that it needs some work. But if I get her eyes pretty much in the right place, I think we can get the rest. So, what is scribbling? You're just going to start out by making little scribbles, little circles. And so we're going to scribble all around this cat. And then where you see like lines that's going up her head, you're going to just scribble tighter and darker. So here are her ears. You can trace them out. Obviously, you're not going to trace Jupiter's ears, but your animals, and then come in behind the ears and add the shadow. So I am going to just put this in time lapse and scribble around. If I have some tips for you in between, I'll stop and tell you. But hopefully you'll get to see how fun this is, and then we'll be back in just a bit. All right, so I'm gonna stop right here just so you can see what I've done. I'm gonna pull you in a little tighter so I can show you. So I'm just scribbling, making just scribbles. And so when I see these shadows, the darker areas, like we talked about a moment ago, I just scribble a lot more. I scribble a lot tighter. And then on her back where it's lighter, my scribbles are a little bit looser. I just don't go over them as much. So it's not white, it's more of a gray tone, kind of what we're seeing right in this area. Now here, her head is much brighter in this picture. She's actually the same color of gray, but this was in front of the window and she was looking up, and so this is how the picture ended up. So I want to continue the scribbles, and this area right here will have probably be more like this area, but I will put just very little scribbles around her face. So I just wanted to stop and show you that. Here is her tail. Remember, we chose not to do her feet because you couldn't really see them. These are her two front paws coming together, and it's darker in here where you don't see them, but because it was already dark, I just chose to leave that light so that you could see that there was a distinguishing break in between her two front legs. So I'm going to continue with her face. All right, I am going to stop there because she's starting to look like a sheep to me right in here, but you get the gist, I hope. I probably could do a little bit more right down her nose. Yeah, I said I was going to stop and I'm not, am I? But I decided to leave just some of these little areas that were so light, just leave them without any scribbles. And then over here, her fur was really white. It's a lot whiter or lighter actually looking here, and it was kind of getting a little bit blended too much in with these darker scribbles, so I stopped. And then here I made my scribbles come a little longer looking because she's got this long beautiful fur in front of her, under her chin, and you know, around the scruff area. So I darkened the nostrils. They're not pupils. And so there's her nose, and then feels like I could shape her eyes up a little better. But hopefully it looks a little bit like a cat to you and not as much of a sheep as it does to me. So find you a picture, and if it's a black and white one, that is perfect, so you can see the lights and the shades. If it's a color one, you can put a filter on it and make it black and white. So play around with scribble drawing, and I cannot wait to see your beautiful artwork.